Cigar Saturday Live here on Bourbon Blog Live. I'm Tom Fisher. This is Matty Rock joining us live from New Jersey at Saja's, and also at Saja's, in another part of Saja's, is Al-Saadiq Banks. Thank you for joining us, Al-Saadiq. Nice to have you joining us, all of you.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure, man. Thank you.
Yeah, indeed. And many of you may know that are already fans of Al-Saadiq Banks. He is an artist, a designer, an author, so much more. We're going to have a lot of fun chatting tonight. As always, feel free to ask questions down below or tweet back to us, and take a moment as everything starts off and spread the Cigar Saturday love. Just take that, retweet it, share it on your Facebook. It always gets you a chance to win that free bag of bourbon coffee from Janus Coffee Roasters when you share it. But also, it just helps us continue to spread what we're doing and what we've been doing for nearly a year now, Matty and I, every Saturday night, not skipping one. So both of you are at Saja's, two separate boxes, but both at Saja's.
Yes, sir. You get to see Al-Saadiq's art and everything, instead of me trying to squeeze everything all into one frame. So that was probably the smartest way to do it. So that's what we've done, and it just goes to show how huge Saja's place is. huge.
It's a good sized place. Al-Saadiq, your art, and I see Saj as well.
Today, Tom, I'm changing side. I'm with my bro.
That's right.
You
He can handle himself. He can
handle himself.
So I sit down with you. So that's the beauty of it. Matty's in the front, we're in the back.
You're in the back. So that back room,
here.
I love it. I can't wait to be there with all of you. That back room has some of your art in there. Is the art right behind you?
Yes. So I'm going to lift this phone up and show you some stuff that he has done.
Okay, great.
This is his stuff.
Mm.
These are big posters. These are all the movie stuff, TV series coming out, filmed by Al-Saadiq.
Excellent.
A lot of stuff.
Okay.
And this is some of the books, 14 of them. 15 books he's got.
Wow. And those are all of them right there.
And that's my man right there.
Yes.
Al-Saadiq Banks.
Al-Saadiq Banks right there. And so you've done so much, and I'll just say this too. It's such an impressive looking at all of what you are doing and what you've done. You've had 15 books over the course of how long?
Years, 19 years.
19 years. Wow.
Yes,
and these have sold a lot of copies. These are really these are big.
Yeah, I started this in 2002. The first three I dropped in the same year, and then after that it's been every year, every other year, like, you know what I'm saying. So it's for me. Right. It's not really about like a lot of the new authors today. They infatuated with how many books they've written instead of how many books they sold. So every right. I write a book in 2 weeks. I write a book in a month. Because it's all ebooks now, so everything is digital now. So the days of the guys sitting around and writing one book for 3 years, the new wave of authors, they believe that writing a book in 2 weeks is something more to brag about. So you got guys who have 50 books in print, and they haven't sold 100 copies out of 50 books. In 19 years, all independent. No majors behind me, no crutches behind me, just me and my team. Right. In these 19 years, we have sold close to like 800,000 books collected.
Wow, that's on
the independent level.
That is incredible, and even just in that first year, you were selling, from what I understand, like nearly 100,000 just that first year.
First year, straight out the gate, books unedited. The first book. The first edition, no quotation marks. You couldn't even tell who was talking in the book, but the people, they kind of fell in love with the storyline. It wasn't about the writing, because I couldn't write with the first book. I just knew I had something that I wanted to say. So I put, I put the book out, and I get this person to edit and that person to do a cover. Nothing professional at all. To the best of my ability. And that book sold close to 90,000 units first year.
Congratulations. You've done some great works in all sorts of areas, absolutely. And when you said the first book had no quotation marks, was that intentional?
No, I was never a fiction reader. So
Okay.
I didn't even really know how to set this joint up. I just did what I thought was the way, the way I thought it was supposed to go.
Right.
So now
Right.
once I get on the marketplace and I start, going to different bookstores, and I'm, as I'm waiting around for a book signing, I start flipping through books. And I'm like, wow, like I don't even have quotation marks in this book. Like, I mean, you could barely tell who's even talking. It was pretty much you had to find your way through it. But overall, they knew that I had a story that was a little different from what they was used to reading at that time, and that's really what I think they gravitated to. So second book, of course, got better. Third book was better, but the fourth book is the book that really is where I really learned how to write. The fourth book is when I learned how to do some, execution and some character development and, all different little tricks of the trade that I had learned with the first three books. So that I always say that the fourth book is the book that really kind of built my career. And that's the one that, as far as standalone books, that book is Caught 'Em Slipping. That's the book that everybody really knew me from in the beginning. So in the beginning, it was like the kid from Newark, the author from Newark. Nobody didn't really know my name. By the time the fourth book came is when I really, I've gained a name at this time. It's Al-Saadiq Banks as a writer. So and with that book, in the first, I think 4 weeks, that was like the biggest book at that time for me. In 4 weeks, I think we sold maybe 35,000 books in like 4 weeks. So that's the kind of big deal when in that particular time 10,000 books sold was like platinum. You could get if you were an independent publisher, I mean, or author, right? If you sold 10,000 books, you could take your track record to any major, and you can get a book deal based on 10,000 books. So in 4 weeks, I'm already at 30.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So like my career has been an independent one, but I turned down 2 major deals. I've never wanted to be a part of the majors.
Okay. And in the beginning, when you started, I mean, you were mentioning that how now books, obviously there are still tangible books, but so many books have gone to ebooks. Yours have too. In the beginning, 19 years ago, you were releasing what we know as books, not ebooks, but you were releasing books, and at some point they became ebooks. Is that what you were saying?
When I first started in 2002. I guess I don't really remember exactly if it was mention of ebooks at the time.
Right.
But I know for my genre, I write crime fiction. I write from urban
Yes.
crime fiction. So a lot of our readers hadn't transitioned into ebooks yet.
Right.
So it was still about paperback. That was like the boom of urban fiction. Like 2000, the boom of urban fiction was maybe 98, 99. So I came in. And it was like maybe a couple of writers at that time who were making noise, but by the time I came in 2002, that was like it still was considered the boom.
The boom.
It's picking up. So it was that was considered like the boom of urban fiction. So a lot of our readers didn't really transition into the ebooks like full throttle until maybe 2006. But for me, that never really affected me because my base is more of a paperback base.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like my readers now, you got to figure, if I've been doing this for 19 years, right? The little girl that was 15 years old reading this book and she shouldn't have been reading it, she's now in her mid 30s.
Wow.
So my readers have, as I have evolved as a writer, my readers have matured and grown up. So my readership base now, some people have been with me for the past 15 years and now they're 35, they're 40 years old. So those people are still about a physical book. And then the biggest part of my base, I say maybe 75 to 80% of my base is really in the prison and the correctional facilities. So they don't really have ebooks. All of that is paperback.
And you said about 75% or more of your base is they're reading those.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. How that started was in the beginning. Yeah. In the very beginning, I kind of got blackballed as far as in the industry. Like it was like maybe 3 independent distributors, right? But they were all family, but they branched off into their own thing. So when I got into a fallout over a $70,000 check that a dude didn't want to pay me, and he wanted another 10,000 copies, I got into a fallout with him over he didn't want to pay, he wanted to take 10,000 more books. Oh. So we got into a fallout. We get into the fallout. I'll say, you know what? I'm gonna work around him. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna deal with all other distributors that's out there. I never really realized that they were all connected. So when I made the call to get to the other 2, like they're not even picking the call up. So now I'm sitting in the office with $2,500 a month rent and not with no distribution. And I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get these books to move. So from that point on, I started going into I always felt like these books are they similar to hip hop. So early off, I said to myself, if a guy likes hip hop, then he'll like this. So I started aiming my audience at anybody who appreciates hip hop. So in order to do that, I looked at all the hip hop magazines, Double XL, Source, any magazine, all the magazines that were out there at the time. So now I'm sitting in the office and I'm calling these people up, and these guys saying I want $10,000 a page for advertisement. Right? So you got King, you got Double XL, you got Source, you got Feds, you got Don, you got maybe 10 magazines out there.
Wow.
So I realized at this point I'm gonna have to put the money up because I got 30,000 books sitting here and I have no distribution. So what I got to do now, I start putting an ad in this magazine, 10,000. I put an ad over here for 2,000. So I remember the first time we spent about 44,000 in magazine advertisement.
Wow.
So now we spend the 44,000. That's for a 3-month period, right? So now once we spend the 44,000, the mail is coming. All the order forms that were in the books, people are they send it to us like in a heavy influx. Everybody trying to get hold to the books now. So now for the next 3 months, within 3 months, all the distributors are calling me back because they have the buzz of these people from the jails, because the guys in the jails are the ones that are reading these. They live by these hip hop magazines. So now they call in to every distributor, yo, God, I need this book, I need that book. So now these guys are forced to call me back. But I play hardball for another 6 months. Now I don't even want to deal with y'all now. You give me that 70,000 you owe me, you give me that 10,000 you owe me, and then I think about getting back to y'all. So now we got control. But what we done in the meanwhile is that we've created this base all across the country inside the jails. So now that's why 75 to 80% of the following come from those jails, because every dollar we spent was aimed toward them.
Wow.
So I hear certain women say, I really didn't care for that book. I really didn't like that book. But I never really take offense. So of course I love all my readers, but I never take offense when a woman says to me, or not even a woman, anybody says this book, I really didn't feel the book, because I never really wrote it for them. From the beginning, I knew my target audience, and my target audience was guys like me who could appreciate a story that's not over the top, right, that's right here, believable, not fairy tale, not a bubblegum love story. So I write for guys like myself who appreciate a true to life story, which that's what the name of my brand is, True to Life. So now you got jails all over the country. We got jails in Honolulu. We got jails everywhere who live by these hip hop magazines, and now those guys are in touch with us. And those same guys, every time a book drop, I could depend on them. One thing that I learned about the guys in the jail, which is why this has been in my audience, right? On the street, when you buy your wife a Gucci pocketbook, right? Or you buy your wife the new S-Class Mercedes, 2 years when the next one come out, she may not have the same appreciation for what's old. In jail, those dudes, some of those guys sitting there for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, they don't care what's old. They just care what the right thing is. That's it. They only care about the right. They want it to be right. They don't care if the book is 50 years old. As long as they do what it did 50 years ago, they're cool with it.
Incredible. It's such a great story. I mean, and a real success story, understanding your audience and taking that control back. I love what you've done there. I want to make sure I put up. Yes, absolutely. You're welcome. A lot of great people watching us right now. TrueToLifeProductions.com is the website. Yes, where to go to learn all about Al-Saadiq Banks' books, all of his art, what he does. That boom you were talking about in urban fiction, getting big right there in the late 90s, early 2000s. What do you attribute that boom to? Why did it get so big then?
It was one particular author at this particular time that really kind of before it was an author by the name of Donald Goines, and that's maybe in the 60s and the 70s. It was all pimp stories, but from 70 to the late 90s, it kind of died down. But it was a girl from out of New York that she put a book out. Sister Soldier was her name. So when she put the book out, all the people that were 15 and 16, they never heard of Donald Goines. Like my mother read Donald Goines. So when the girl Sister Soldier come out, the woman Sister Soldier comes out with this book that's about Black people in the ghetto, a story that they can relate to. I mean, they read Jackie Collins, they read all the J. California Cooper. They grew up reading those books, and now for the first time they open a book that they really can relate to. It's not a suburban book. It's about the struggles of the ghetto. Right. And that's what made the boom, because it's like now once she dropped her book, every other author who said, I got a story, I could, I've been through some shit too, I could drop that out there too. So now you got a bunch of authors coming out and everybody pouring into this well, and people are finally, little black kids in the ghetto, although it's not no glorification in those books, is a story. It's not even about the glorification. It's a story that they can relate to. Poverty, drug addict parents, the struggles of trying to do the right thing in the ghetto. So now they finally got something that they understand outside of reading about a book about a girl in, suburban America, which is like a dream come true to them.
Yeah, relatability, right? That's the best way. When you get your niche audience is when you have that kind of relatability, and people know exactly what they're looking for, how to find it, and they're vested in what you do, and you're vested in what they want to hear.
That's right. You know what I'm saying? So when you notice, when you like, it's a wide open audience right there. I mean, like I said, they love reading the books about suburban America, but it doesn't hit the same until it's something that they really can relate to. You know what I mean? So that's what I think, that's what really created this boom. So now if you get on the train, going to New York City, you see everybody with an urban fiction book in their hand. You know what I mean? When you go past the bus stop, they're at the bus stop reading, or everywhere they are, they have a book in their hand. And that stayed like that for maybe, I say 98 to maybe 2006. That's a whole period where you couldn't get these girls, mainly girls. And that's the thing too. When I first started, like all my books are male-driven books, right? So all the distributors say, you might want to rethink that. You might want to rethink that because men don't read. But I beg to differ. I say, you know what? And I'm the type of guy that always wants to take a challenge. So when they say men don't read, I gotta prove to them that men do read. So that's what I did. So now I gotta have this. You gotta think about it. Now I had this whole base that I found, this whole base in correctional facilities all across the country, right? And I'm the only person writing for them. I'm the only one writing male character books. Everybody else writing for women. I'm writing for men. So that gives me the whole lane to myself for maybe 5-6 years. It's like a hidden gem that nobody knew about.
Incredible. And you really had a clear focus, as you still do, who you were writing for, who that target audience is. Do you think that's, obviously, speaking for your own experience, do you think that is a true mark of an author that, authors that thrive, that really know what they're doing, they understand that audience? It sounds like it's really worked out well for you.
For me, what I believe is you have artists and you have businessmen.
Right.
The term they say starving artists, right? Because most artists don't care about the money, they do it for the love.
Right.
So they don't care, they never think from a business perspective when they're writing. When I write, the natural businessman inside of me understands that, okay, if I put this particular watch in the book, this is going to go over this particular reader's head. But I'll be able to gain this particular reader because he'll understand this language that I'm speaking about with this watch. So they don't understand the business side of it. You know what I'm saying? That's why most of them end up being starving artists, because they do it for the love and they never think about money. They don't know about target audience. They don't know about demographic. Most authors that I talk to will say, my book is going to be for everybody. There's no book. The Bible isn't for everybody. The Quran isn't for everybody. No book is for everybody. But when you write this book, you have to know from the time that you sit down and put the pen to the pad, you have to understand who your target audience is. You know what I mean? And if you, because when you look at a survey, right? You look at a survey, you go see a movie or whatever, then they give you a survey at the end. They say, what's the highest grade completed in your house?
Right.
What's your annual combined income in the house? All this puts us into baskets. So now when you write a book, you have to know, who is this book for? What age demographic? What race? What's what grade level? Like, would a person who has a double master's be interested in this, or people who maybe went to 12th grade? You had to know all of this. And a lot of times, a lot of these guys maybe they'll find it out later, but some people never find out that part of the business. And that's why you have publishers, and that's why you have authors. Like now, publishing houses, they understand this already. They understand all these different things. They understand the target audience. They understand The red, black, and white book covers sell over the blue and white cover. Publishing houses know all this, but the author doesn't know this. So if you're an author and a businessman, then you have to take on all the hats, and you got to understand, okay, this cover sells more. If you do a survey, what color cover sells faster than the others? How should the synopsis be? So the business part of me is what I think really helped me to thrive in this business where other guys didn't, because they looked at it as a hustle, a quick flip. I looked at it as a long-term business, and I understood business.
And both from the perspective of as an artist, but also as a perspective of as a business person understanding your audience, and which I think is something that, I mean, again, this is some advice and something that other artists can take some good direction from.
I mean, that's key. It's key to understand. Like, you have to study the business side of it. I mean, you got guys. From the beginning of time, we see guys take deals in music and they get burnt in the end. It's because they don't understand the business part of it. They really don't care about the business part of it. They really most artists just want notoriety.
It's the ability. How many hats can you wear, right? It's how many hats can you wear and how good are you at it. So you're lucky that you have the capabilities of the business aspects of it and the artistic aspect of it, right? A lot of people don't. A lot of people might have one or not the other. I think for you, your success has been that you've had multiple levels of success in each one of those things, on the business side, on the creativity side, on the authoring side. So when you can marry all those things together, and that's why it's worked for you. That's why you've garnered that success.
Some guys don't care to wear those hats. So you have to know that about yourself. Listen, I'm an artist, right? I don't want to handle the business, because it's times in these 19 years where the business side of it has drained my creativity. I get tired of chasing checks. This guy owe money, that guy owe money, and by the end of it, I'm like, man, I'm just tired of all of this. So you have to understand what hat you really want to wear. Do you want to be the author? Do you want to be the publisher? Or do you want to be all of that? Like, everybody's not built to be all of that.
Right.
So it's no different. Like, when I tell people, it's no different than any other business that we're in. We're in Sandra's cigar shop, right? The same way you move a cigar or you get a cigar to move, it's the same way you have to get a book to move.
Right.
And I tell a person, once you understand business, no matter what you do, you can move it. It can be bourbon, it can be books, it can be whatever. Or the model is the same. You get what I'm saying? And another thing that's a strong point for me that I believe is, without me even understanding branding, right? I didn't understand branding, but just as a businessman, I knew it was a natural thing to do. I started off early with the branding process. I started early with my logo, put my logo everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I started early with the log line. Like, all this stuff just came to me naturally in the beginning, right? And then each year I had a little more into the brand. And then it got to the point where my readers, they were screaming. They wouldn't even scream my name out. They would say True to Life, which is my company. That's all they knew. So I knew I had done a great job at branding. Now, branding is what has kept me relevant for 19 years. Where other guys who can outright me, they didn't brand themselves properly, and then 3 years later they fizzle off.
Right.
Yep, that's how you got your staying power.
Yes. Yes. And so many great people watching. We appreciate Juan Flores watching, Al Ramirez sending much respect to Al-Saadiq. Kawan Wright also watching. If you have any questions for Al-Saadiq Banks, please ask them below. Not only does Al-Saadiq write, he's an artist, he does so much more. Randy New wants to know how you got into coats. Tell us a little bit about those custom coats, and tell us what else you do.
Now, before I was a writer, I was an art major.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, all this is art. Whether you paint the picture with words, or I'm creating a whole theme with a coat, or whether it's a painting, like, all of it is art. It's all a visual inside my mind, and I have to bring it out and translate it to the world, right? So, yeah. But I majored in fine industrial art, way back as a kid. So I have an art background. So I grew up drawing characters and drawing them with the newest coats, the sheepskin coats, and all the new apparel. So this is 4 years now. I jumped back. I put the pencil down a long time ago. But 4 years ago, I ran into a situation, a manufacturer that could make the coats for me. So that just put me, again, the business side of me I go back to what I know. I pull the pads back out and I start drawing coats and I try the first one. And I try the second one. And I try to, and see now the branding process of that is I have a base, that I love my base because they support me in anything that I do. So the transition was smooth from going, these same dudes who supported the books all across the country. You got to figure this, right? A guy did 10 years in the prison. He come home. All he want to do is talk to his favorite author. Like, it's like in those most intimate times of his life, the darkest times of his life, when it was just him in the darkness, his mother probably passed away. His father probably passed away. His wife left him. He has a book for me every year. Me and him are closer than anybody else. You understand? Like, I've been with him through the darkest times. So now when he come home for the first time, he finds me on social media. And he sees that I'm doing coats. And this is his payment back for me. From me being with him, without me even knowing him. Me being with him during his darkest times, he feel like it's only right to buy this coat and to continue to support. Right? So one guy said to me, he said, I didn't know if I got 2 pages. So I sent 1 page. He asked me about a coat, and I told him, he said, yo, how I know you're not a scam? Because the coat was like $2,000, right? He said, how do I know it's not a scam? I said, well, I don't have any way to prove to you that it's not a scam, but all I can do is direct you to my main page. So I direct him to my main page. He come right back and say, wow, you Al-Saadiq Banks. I read every book you had. I read all 13 of your books. This, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. He sent me the $2,000, right? So now he sent me the $2,000. I sent him the coat in 2 weeks, right? And I thank him. I say, bro, I just want to let you know that I appreciate you. And I thank you for trusting me with the $2,000 from across the country. You don't even know me. He said, I know you more than you think I know you. He said, I read every book you wrote. Wow. He said, I know how you think. I know how you move. He said, if you would have beat me for the $2,000, I just would have charged you to the game that I read you wrong.
Wow.
This is how close these people are to you through these books. And that's what blew my mind early off. Like, wow, like the first time I saw a girl cry when meeting me, it blew my mind. I laughed out of nervousness. Like, she said, wow, you Al-Saadiq Banks, and she busted out crying, and I laughed in her face. Like, because I didn't know how to handle that. Like, I never realized that words meant that much to people, but you don't know what these people are going through in life. You don't know what these people are going through in life while they're reading that book.
And that's vested in your audience, man. Respect is a powerful thing.
Indeed.
When you bring in that audience, and that audience is vested, they're not just vested in what you wrote, they're invested in the man. And when you do that, that's powerful stuff, because they're not just vested in what you do, they're vested in who you are. And that's,
so that's why
big stuff, man.
How did I get into the coach? So when I try to coach, when I try to coach and I see that, wow, my base really support me in this. You know what I'm saying? And they asking for more, just like they were asking for more with the books. They asking for more. Yo, can you change that collar? Can you change this? Can you add this zipper? So now I'm like, wow. So now the same gratification that I would get, it take me 6 months to write a book, right? I write the book in 6 months. I send it to the editor. It takes me 9 months total. So you're talking about a whole year before I could put that book in your hand, because that's really what it matters. After all of this work, when I put it in your hand and you tell me what it is, that's when I feel like my job is done, right? And when you say, yo, this book is right? So now it takes me 9 months to get gratification in the book, but it takes me 3 weeks to get the gratification in the coat. So it's like, like, yo, I can get this same fix in 3 weeks that I was waiting for 9 months for. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, these are some great coats too. I was just I was checking them out. See if we can pump up if we can. Pump a. It's a good chance I can do this. Let's see if I'm able to pop a picture. Okay, there we go. There's one of them. Where do you tell us about the coats, or maybe this one in particular? What inspires you on the designs here?
I mean, again, I like this right here is a cashmere with a full crystal fox collar, right? Too loud for me. But I know there's the guys who read my book, the flashy guys, like, these guys who when they were in the world, they drive Rolls Royce and they wear full length mink coats. This is the type of coat that they like.
Like it.
They like to make a statement. You know what I mean? So, for me, when I make a coat, it's like I have a movie in my head for that coat already. So I know what this coat for. If you say, listen, I need a coat made, I say, where you going? I'm going to the opera. I know what to do. If you say I'm going to see Lion King, I know what to do. If you say I'm going to All-Star Weekend, I know exactly what you're gonna do. We're gonna create a whole movie for you. When you walk on that basketball court at All-Star Weekend, right? When you walk, the movie gonna be your movie because I'm gonna make the coat fit what we got going on right there.
I like it, and not only the books and everything else available, also links. Your coats on the same website, TrueToLifeProductions.com. I was scanning through a few. That's one of the ones that caught my eye. All really great pieces of art themselves. Again, it's Al-Saadiq's Banks. And if you have any questions for Al-Saadiq, it looks like you have a lot of fans who are watching, listening in on Bourbon Blog Live. Ask away. A lot of great people watching. Really glad to have Maddie and Al-Saadiq joining us from Sages. What are you smoking on there, Al-Saadiq?
Placencia. This is actually right. Now I've been smoking now for maybe 16 years. Right?
Yeah.
I've smoked everything. I'm in here with the king of this thing, right? So it's nothing out here that's worth smoking that I haven't smoked, no matter what it is, right? And out of everything that I've ever smoked, this is my favorite out of everything. 16 years of smoking, this is my favorite right here.
Excellent.
Yep, and at this shop, everyone knows Nestor well. Sanj and Nestor. Sanj is back there listening. 25-year history, those guys together.
Indeed, yeah.
What are we puffing on, Tom?
With this guy, I've had every education tutorial with cigars, from way back. So I'm no stranger to move around in the cigar world. I smoke everything that's out there, and I think the first time I only had 5 of these within the last year, so I only pull it out certain times. But I don't think I've had anything that comes close to this.
No, that is a nice one. I'm doing an Asa Cuba Arte tonight, pairing it with, and I texted Maddie a picture of this. We were in Louisville this weekend at Kentucky Peerless. I'm having some of the Peerless single barrel bourbon, and this particular release is actually called, because they change up the releases every time, every new barrel. They name a different name based upon what it tastes like, and this release is actually called vintage cigar box. Because it has some tobacco, kind of dusty old barrel notes.
It's nice.
So good. So it's so amazing. So nice.
What are you pairing that up with, Tom? What are you smoking?
I'm having the Cuba Arte Acid, the special art one release. And what are you doing there, Maddie? What are you trying?
Man, since it's been a miserable winter here, I'm kicking it with a little bit Herrera Esteli, the Ho'ala, which is only for the Hawaiian market. I got lucky enough to get my my greasy paws on this. Since it's 30 degrees and miserable out, at least the stick will help me pretend that I'm in Hawaii. Well done, Willie.
Yes.
And of course, you guys have the adult beverages. My husky ass is just drinking a hint, keeping it overly simple.
Those hints are good. Wait, is that the cherry one? Which one is that?
Yeah, yes, sir. It is. So,
hot water.
So my palate will have to be quenched by that, and I'll leave you guys to the adult beverages.
What are you pairing your cigar with there, Al-Saadiq? Are you
water right now?
A little water too.
Yeah, I'm really in the warmer months. I'm only I'm drinking Amarone. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Different. I really just got into the Amarones maybe
those are beautiful
3 months ago. So I'm just finding my way around there. I'm just collecting different pieces and trying different things. So that's really what I really drink a lot of red wine in warmer months. When it's cold, I like the bourbons when it's cold, like now. But I haven't really gotten into the bourbons this season right here. But normally I'm Rare Breed. Rare Breed is one of my favorites.
I love
Elijah Craig. Elijah Craig is one of my favorites, and Four Roses single barrel. Those are my top 3 that I like to move around with right now.
I love those.
I've tried a lot of different ones, but as far as like what you got right there, like I haven't really got into the super. I'm more on the generic side with it. I haven't really got into a lot of those like that. You know what I mean?
Well, You're mentioning some of my favorites. I was just sipping on some Full Rosa Single Barrel last night as well, and
That's my favorite. Yeah.
yeah, I love that, and I love the rare breed. That higher proof Wild Turkey is beautiful. That barrel,
I love rare breed, man. Love it.
So good. That's always been a favorite of mine. I just when I'm seeing you smoking the cigar and we're talking about wines and whiskeys, I'm imagining you writing some of these books. Do you have a cigar in hand as you're writing these?
I'm funny with the cigar. I can only smoke. I only smoke one cigar a day, and I've been like that for 16 years. Right.
Right.
And I only can smoke at night because once I smoke, I go. I'm ready to go to sleep.
Okay.
So for the most part of the day, you'll see me writing. I'll have the cigar in my mouth, but I won't light it until I have a regimen. I like, for me, a cigar is a celebration every time I light it. That's why I only do one a day. I don't want to smoke 2 cigars, 3 a day, because then it's no longer a celebration. I'm just overdosing with it. So at the end of my day, when I've made a couple dollars and I've done some work, I celebrate at 10 o'clock and I light every day, same time, 10 o'clock. I'm lighting a little early today, but normally that's my regimen.
You're getting that one in early today. I like it. I like it. Take a moment if you have a question for Al-Saadiq, ask us down below. Dave, Keisha, Vince, Carlton. Great to have all of you watching, and of course, as always, we will have this conversation up on our podcast. If you're not already subscribed to our Bourbon Blog podcast, I know a number of you are. Subscribe to our podcast on that link down below, anchor.fm/Bourbon Blog, so that we can keep on spreading the love of cigars, whiskey, and more. Maddie, I don't know what date. I'm going to have to look it up, but I know at least in the next couple weeks or month, we're going to be hitting probably 52 episodes. We've been doing this nearly since the pandemic started, which we're only days away from that.
Yeah, I think second week in March. So I think next week will probably mark the 1-year anniversary. We got to go check it out.
Yeah. So I remember when I first started. I remember when I first started.
That's right.
So we could go light off fireworks, go shoot them with the neighbors, right, Sans?
We should be lighting a firework off for next week's episode. Absolutely. We've done a lot of these, and it's been a pleasure having all of you join us for I know some of you, Shad and Chairman Lai, and a lot of y'all have been watching us every week for those 52 weeks, and I've had a fun time joining you, Maddie, and Sanj and everyone else. It's been a part of the show the last 52 weeks.
Much love and appreciation.
Yeah.
Everybody who's been tuning in, thanks for joining us on the journey. What started out as a COVID show now has gone on for a year. We're appreciative of all of you. Much love and much thanks. And speaking of COVID, I always make sure people who are not 100% aware what Tom has been doing while we have been on hiatus. Tom is usually on the road probably 180 days plus a year, doing these tastings, doing these educations of fine liquors and bourbons. Tom, why don't you let everybody know how they can do what we're doing here for a large virtual audience? You could do your tastings and pairings.
Yes, thanks so much, Maddie. So I'm still hosting, and I'm sure we will continue for a while to host virtual tastings. And the way to learn about virtual tastings for your family, your friends, small groups, or even big groups for your business is bourbonblog.com/tasting, or just drop me a line at tom@bourbonblog.com. That way we bring we can even send you the bourbon. We send you minis, or we can get big bottles to send you. We're doing a lot of these, so hit us up, hit me up, Tom@bourbonblog, or even if you just want to say hi.
Now, what's your favorite bourbon, though? What's your favorite bourbon? I know there's so many.
That's a good question. It depends on the mood. You mentioned, I've always been a big fan since the early days. I've always liked that rare breed you mentioned. I like those stronger proof bourbons. A lot of times it's just whatever I have in hand. I do love the Peerless bourbons and ryes, and trying this one tonight. They only made like 300 bottles of this single, around 300. I don't know how many, but this single barrel release. So I love this one. When we were tasting these yesterday, we were tasting through some of their newest releases at the distillery. This was by far one of my very favorites. But there's a lot that I enjoy. I like higher proof bourbons. I like straight from the barrel. I love the Jefferson's Oceans. Those are some fun ones. I always like trying new ones too, just new ones. There's a lot of great bourbons coming from the East Coast that I love as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah. See, and my whole thing, like I have, I get so crazy with it. So as soon as I got into the bourbons, maybe 6-7 years ago, I had to cut it off because I started going to the store and I started going online and I'm a label chaser. So like I like what'll get me is like that bottle you have right there. Like they automatically get me because of the packaging. That's the business part of it again. As soon as I see the packaging, like if I like the packaging, even if I never drink it, I gotta grab it just because I like the packaging on it. You know what I mean?
It's the art, isn't it? It's the story that this tells. Not only, and this label is actually a recreation from a pre-prohibition label that the brand, most every other brand, they were killed off during the Prohibition era, 1919 to 1933. They were able to find these older labels. They recreated that. Basically, looks about the same. And then for these single barrel ones, the art is so special. The story that these tell, I think, the story that all whiskeys, all spirits, especially that have been aged, tell a story, and that's part of what the the flavor is and what the lure is to understand that story. And then when you pair it with a cigar or cheese or whatever you pair it with, it just tells that story and those layers come through.
I mean, I love the whole culture of it, man. I love, it's a culture. People don't really. Like, this guy one time, he was like, "Yo, I want you to drink some Remy with me with the cigar." I said, "Never. I would never ever. That's not what I want to do. I don't want to do Remy. Like if we're gonna really get into this thing, I'm gonna show you how to get into the culture of it. It's not gonna be Hennessy and it's not gonna be Remy. It's gonna be bourbon. It's gonna be Scotch, and that's how we're gonna play it." You know what I mean?
Good whiskey and cigars. Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully when we get back to the East Coast, hanging out with you, Al-Saadiq, and we'll get there at Sanja's with Maddie. We'll have some good sips and some good smokes. Now, one of the things I heard you mention earlier, or Sanj was mentioning that one of your books is going to become a film or a TV show, or already is. Tell us about that.
We're in the edit phase right now of it's actually the third book that I wrote, 2002. That's the third one. We just shot it from August to December. We finished in December, and now we're in edit phase, and we expecting it maybe summertime. Now this one right here is a little different because this is like the pivotal book. This is where the first book was a separate storyline from the second book. But those two books, I never wrote any of these books to be connected, but it just happened this way. So now by the second book, I have two different storylines, but I bring them together in the third book. So this third book right here is more of like a twisted romance type of story, right? But the reason that we chose that one as the film is because, in a time like this, you got certain TV shows with the shoot 'em up, bang bang, and the gangster, and it's kind of hard to get in the door with that because there's so much of that out there, right? So I figure you can never really go wrong with a romance story. Everybody has been in love, and everybody can relate to this story, this type of story, whether it's this exact storyline. I mean, it's the basis of it is love, and everybody wants to be in love at the end of the day. So I feel we can get through the door faster with this one than some of my more complex pieces. So the whole thing is to get in with this, and then I could bring, I have an 8-part series, which is called Block Party. That's the real bread and butter. I can learn the game with this particular project right here. I can learn the game. I can build my resources up, and I can get, I can do some networking off of this piece, and then I can slam them with the real piece. Then we get, we can really hit them with the real bread and butter this time.
And that sounds incredible. The film, the series will be working. Where will it be able to watch this then?
I mean, right now, like I said, we learning the game with it. So once, I mean, we done. For me, I always like to pattern what we do, with the majors. So if I want to share the same shelf with the majors, then I have to emulate the majors. So that's with books, that's with art, that's with coats. Like I can't make a coat and I want top dollar for it, and Neiman Marcus is doing something better than me. So I'm never looking at independent in anything. I'm not looking at the independent authors. I'm looking at what the majors are doing. The majors doing it this way, I got to do it that way. If Neiman Marcus is doing it this way, I got to do it that way. If Lionsgate is doing it this way, it has to be done that way. So once it's completed, we got some real talent there. This is not no YouTube series type of stuff. It's not like just me with a camera and I'm learning how to shoot. No, like we really had a production team. We got real name actors. So now that puts us in a place where when it's time to pitch, I can say, listen, check out this girl. You know what I'm saying? I may not have the accolades as a because what I do in the book game doesn't necessarily translate into the film world. And I know this, so what I've done is I made sure that I get actors who have their own accolades. So now when I sit down with a distribution company, I can say, well, this girl right here, my main girl, her resume is 5 pages long. This guy, his resume is 3 pages long. This guy, his is 6 pages long. You know what I mean? So now it puts us in we're in an arena of we can compete now because we got the same kind of talent that the majors have with them.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that works well. I'm not even hoping because I had this motto with me that anything that I want to do, I tell anybody who know me will tell you this about me. I don't think it's nothing that I can't do.
Right.
I feel like whatever it is that I want to do, I can do it, and I prove it to myself that I can do it. So win, lose, or draw, like you got guys who think from a perspective of, damn, what if it don't work? I've never thought like that. I've never ever. I know once I put my hand on something, it gotta go because I'm gonna make it go. So that I feel the same way about this film. Like as soon as this film is done, it has to go because we're gonna make it go, and we're not gonna stop until it goes.
And you have a great story. It sounds like a lot of great people already involved. Any as far as the actors in this, are you able to share who the actors are, or the?
No, I mean they're not actors like they're not A-list actors that people probably would know, but these people have really worked on major sets. Yes, they worked on major sets, and not just saying it because it's our project, but I believe that if they didn't, if nobody looked at them, this script right here is going to make some people look at them.
Right. That's incredible. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, that's how I feel about that, man. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll be excited to hear more about that as it progresses. During the last year or so, I'm going to assume that you might have been doing some writing. What have you been working on then, in addition to the film? Here lately?
Yeah, I always have something on my computer.
Yeah.
So I'm, where I normally write 15 hours a day, I haven't been able to write 15 hours a day because I'm on a set with this, or I'm doing something with a coat, or I'm doing something with a painting. So I'm kind of, for me, it's all about right now. I feel like I've built my legacy with these books already, and I can do this. I can do this every other year. I can do this one a year. Like my legacy is built with that, right?
Right.
Now, because I'm just trying to pile on now. I have children, you know what I'm saying? I have daughters, and when I'm dead and gone, I know that I'll be, they'll speak more highly of me once I'm gone. So when they speak about me when I'm gone, I want to make sure that all that I didn't get here, my family can get all that I didn't get. So that's the branding process for me. Like once a lot of people, again, once you brand yourself in one thing, that doesn't mean you have to stay in that same place. You look at people like Kim Kardashian, right? Or you look at people, these people get it. These people get it because they understand that. They understand that once you brand yourself, your people who support you and like what you do will like everything that you do. Some won't. Everybody won't follow over, but you have a core audience. Because listen, a person can buy a book from anywhere, right? But if you're one of my readers, you rather buy that book from me because you're invested in me, right? So what that does is you've developed is brand reputation, where these people right here, they like the reputation that you have. So they say, you know what? I really didn't care for the last book, but I really rock with you. And that's key. So I have no doubt that
you got your audience. That's
you got your audience
invested in you, man. And they've been invested in you for almost 2 decades.
Take the audience serious. Like I don't play with that. Like I don't say, oh, they're gonna follow me whatever I do, so I can halfway do it. I don't think like that. I think like I have an obligation to them. These people trust me that I'm never going to stand wrong, and I can't stand wrong.
Right. You're doing great work, and your story is really inspiring. It's a cool story. It's just it's so good what you've done. Yes, absolutely, my friend. And I want to put this up here one more time. TrueToLifeProductions.com is where to go. And Sanj, what are you smoking on there, Sanj?
I'm smoking. Maddie gave me this Herrera Steli.
You're joining Maddie now, I see.
Yeah. You know,
You're
Saadiq was nervous earlier, so he said, "Bro, sit next to me." I said, "I got you." You know, so once he starts, that's it.
I like it.
See, Sanj is all about the support, Tom. That's why we all family here.
Now you're gonna be surprised here in a few minutes if Sanj shows up next to me. You're gonna know that he's gonna have some fancy machine.
He can do it. He does some crazy shit, so don't be
Pops
surprised.
up, that'll be epic. Well, hopefully I'll be popping up there real soon there with y'all in New Jersey. It's great to have all these folks joining us. And again, once again, TrueToLifeProductions.com is the place to go, and that has all your social media, all the places to follow you. Al-Saadiq, is that right?
Yes, yeah, Al-Saadiq Banks.
You want to give them a shout out, Al-Saadiq, where they could follow you on Twitter and Instagram?
Tell us where to follow you.
Instagram is Al_Saadiq SAADIQ_BANKS. That's my Instagram. Twitter is at Al-Saadiq, I believe. ALSAADIQ. And Facebook is Al-Saadiq Banks, True to Life Publication.
Did I do the right one for Instagram? Hopefully I did.
Say it again.
Is that the right one for Instagram?
No, underscore after the Q.
Oh, after the Q. Okay, I got it. Okay, we'll put it once again because we want to make sure they get the this is where to follow him on Instagram. Gotten better and better doing all that over here to the side. Very, very nice. Very nice. What's happening next week? Maddie, this is such a great conversation now with Al-Saadiq. I'm enjoying this. What are we looking at next week?
So I got to figure out. So we have 4 or 5 different guests. I got to figure out who's going to be who. We have Del Harvey, Hill Street Blues coming up. We have
nice.
We have Lloyd Anahi from the Samoans wrestling. We have wrestler Kevin Sullivan. A whole bunch of different people coming on. So as soon as we figure out who's going to be where next week, we'll get that done. But got 3 or 4 guests already penned. We just got to figure out which Saturday each person is doing.
We will keep letting you know here on Cigar Saturday. We'll keep.
Sanj says we're lighting fireworks for the anniversary.
Are we gonna have some fireworks being lit at Sanj's?
Absolutely. If that's what you want, I'm a pyromaniac.
We'll do it. Do you already have some in your supply there, Sanj?
Yes, we have all the fireworks. We're ready. Tom, I'm not too far from Middle East. Remember that. I say some shit go boom.
You'll see us on the news, is what he's saying.
It'll be major news next week.
So you can either check in here or like CNN or something. Either way, you'll see us.
We're gonna do something. We'll make sure we continue to get on that map there. Well, gentlemen, great having all of you watching us tonight. And Al-Saadiq, really a pleasure, brother, to meet you.
Likewise, man.
Yes, here virtually. And to have a little smoke with you, a conversation. I was going to ask this earlier, and I think someone else asked under comments. You were inspired to write by who? Who really inspired you when you began to write?
See, that's the crazy part, man. I've never really been a fiction reader. So,
right.
Again, all I can say is it's all art for me. It goes back to sitting down, and drawing from the cereal boxes and copying, different artists, right? So now I find a way that when I start writing, I can paint these same pictures with words.
Right.
So that's what, it's just, for me, it's just the love of art that really keep me moving. That's it. That's why, I came up with the log line, Al-Saadiq Banks, the man and the brand that art built. Because it's like, for me, it's all about art, man. It's not about, I don't even look at this as writing. I look at it as like I'm creating these themes and these movies on paper. So when a person sit there and tell me like, yo, I could picture it all because it's art. I can use keywords. And I can control your emotions through certain words. So now if you were in a bad mood, I can either use this word to drag you in even a darker place, or I can lighten you up and pull you out. So that's the power of words. So like even when I'm talking to people, or I'm listening to people, like I'll ask you the same question 3 times. Like I say, hey man, so let me ask you a question. When you walk through the door, what did his face look like? this is how I am in real life.
Right.
I need to visualize how was his face when you walked in the door. How did the door creak? Did the door creak, or did it just was it loose? I need to know the details, because for me, this is all the things that really make the difference. You know what I'm saying? Create that visual in the person's mind. The noises, the the expressions, everything. You know what I mean? So like I said, it's all artwork, man. You know what I'm saying? If I put on the canvas and I put the bright colors or I put the dull colors, it's art. You know what I mean? If I put this coat and I put the bright color and then I tone it down with a dark fur collar, you know what I'm saying? Now I created this contrast. I've created a whole different situation.
You want to just get into all those senses to make sure that image is right there.
Yeah. If you tell me how you're feeling, I need to know the words to pull you out of that place.
Right.
And I can do this with painting. I can do this with designing. I can do this with a film. This can be done with music. Whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? It's just really just pulling out these emotions that these people feel. And that's why art is so beautiful, because what this piece of artwork means nothing to this guy, but it means everything in the world to this particular person, because it's all about what he feel like inside.
What do you, as we come out of this, and again, I feel like we're coming out of this, I don't know, this era. I think it's changed a lot of things, right? Even what we're doing now, virtual conversations. But with regard to art, how do you think the last 12 months is going to change art? I mean, all the things that have happened. What's any predictions you want to make?
I think it's a very trying time, but I think it put the fire under people's feet.
Yes.
I think it made people like things that we may have taken for granted before. I don't think we take those things for granted. I mean, little things like being able to go to a restaurant and sit down and have dinner with your family. Like those are things that we just did on Sunday regardless. Now we realize like this is really a privilege to be able to do this. You know what I mean? The death rate has showed us that no day is promised to none of us. So, even for me, like I battle with days where I feel depressed, because it's like every day now, it feel like I'm sitting around with a stopwatch, not knowing how much time I really have.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it has it has affected me in a way. Normally I don't get caught up in the media. I don't get caught up in what the rest of the world is. I kind of just try to keep it in this little circle. But now I'm forced to look around to see how the world is moving and how it's really going to affect me. You know what I mean? So I think, if nothing else, I think that we're not taking things for granted as we used to. And we realize there's really no time to play. There's really no time to play. We got to work. You can't say tomorrow, because we've seen guys who probably felt like it was going to be a tomorrow, and there is no tomorrow. Yeah. We knew this already, but to see it at such an alarming rate, I think it has really affected the people in a different way.
Right. Yeah. So true. And those, I agree. And those same feelings and thoughts and just appreciating the present, I think no doubt will be a theme that will carry over not only into art, but into so many aspects.
Yeah. I mean, it's a dark time. You know what I mean? It's a dark time for everybody. People, it's just, I mean, even the super wealthy, it's a dark time for them. And it may not be a dark time for them because of finances. It's a dark time to see their friends passing away with millions and millions of dollars, never get a chance to enjoy them. So it's dark for everybody. So I think, if we didn't get anything from this, I think it's more about not taking time for granted, not taking people for granted. The things that really, the money really doesn't mean anything in the pandemic right now. What means is, what means something to people is being, the family member that you didn't talk to for 6 years, you might need to get hold to him because you don't know if he's going to be there next time you decide to get off your high horse and start talking to him.
Very true.
Yeah, that's been a common theme, right? If anything, you learn to appreciate the little things. So, if there's anything that any of us have learned from this, is those little things are important, and being around people are important, and not taking people for granted equally important. So, hopefully, when this is all said and done, people will remember these things, and we all pull together a little bit better. We treat each other a little bit better. So, hopefully, learned.
Yeah. So well said. This has been, I'm enjoying this conversation so much. And this really has been one of my favorite episodes we've done, Al-Saadiq. So
thanks a lot,
yes, absolutely. I'm so glad to have you. And we'll definitely have you back on here. And Maddie, as soon as we We have so many more fun guests and unique people coming up for Cigar Saturday. And again, take a moment to share this, like this, and Sarge, in the next week or two, you'll be ready with some cigars and fireworks.
No doubt.
Absolutely.
Our celebration.
Indeed, indeed.
Chairman Lai says Maddie needs to treat Chris better. I don't know if Crips better. Okay, that's Chairman Lai's.
I love you live, but no. I mean, he trash talks and then wants to be cuddled and hugged. I mean, I miss hugging my man, but come on, dude. Can you really trust the guy who slides off of roofs?
Chairman Lai.
I don't think so.
Always. I was trying to figure out what we always enjoy having Chairman Lai's commentary and everyone else.
Part of the fam, bro.
Gentlemen, a lot of fun having you, everyone, join us tonight, and thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back again, same time, same place next week. Cheers, everybody.
Much love. Salute.
Salute.
Good night.
Good night, son. And Maddie.